Hey everyone, I'm Delightful Dev, and last week I participated in the Brackeys Game Jam 2023.2. If you want to play my entry, there's a link in the pinned comment down below. In this jam, participants had 7 days to make a game with the theme Diving Deeper. Unfortunately, I didn't notice this jam was going on until there were about 3 days left, but that didn't stop me. In my last jam submission, I scored 10 times lower in creativity than any other category. So this time, I wanted to really think about an interesting direction for the theme. I figured most people would make a game about diving into water, so I tried to think of something else. My first idea was a game where you control a character in a sort of RPG setting, but the character is very forgetful. So you need to dive into their mind and solve some sort of puzzle to remember events and progress the story. I thought this idea was solid, but I'd never made a puzzle game before, and I didn't think I could pull it off in such a short amount of time. So I went back to the drawing board and thought of another way to interpret the theme. What I landed on was a game where you're a participant in a tournament of insults and you need to pick the correct insults to identify your opponent's weak trait, allowing you to enter their mind and deliver a powerful game-ending blow. You'll need to defeat 8 challengers to win the grand prize. This idea seemed like a real winner, so I went ahead and contacted my musician friend Francisco, and we both got to work. Make sure to check out Francisco's links in the description. I began with the art and created a basic character and a piece of ground for them to stand on. Since I was running low on time, I just made the player and the opponent use the same sprites. Afterwards, I made some reaction poses and created some emojis to better sell each reaction. With art out of the way, I started on the gameplay. In order for this game to work, I needed the opponents to have a list of traits, and I needed the player to have insults that could identify each trait. The traits were pretty easy to come up with. The insults, however, took a little more time. Although this game is formatted like a fighting game, I had to keep reminding myself that it's more of a detective game where you're questioning the opponents and seeing how they react. The way this works is that each insult can set off 2 traits the opponent has. That means you need to use multiple insults before you can pinpoint the opponent's weak trait. To make each of them unique, I also added a secondary effect like dealing bonus damage based on enemy health, or healing you while dealing damage. The 4th insult is actually a compliment, and instead of dealing damage, it has a special interaction with one of the opponent's insults. Speaking of opponent's insults, in order to keep the game interesting, I made it so the opponents have 3 different attacks: quips, comebacks, and roasts. Quips deal light damage, comebacks lock one of your insults for 2 turns, and roasts take 1 turn to charge, and then deal high damage on the next turn. If the player uses a compliment while a roast is charging, it'll be cancelled. Giving the opponents these abilities creates moments in the gameplay where the player needs to react to the opponent instead of just looking for their weak trait. Speaking of, let's circle back to the whole purpose of this game, entering the opponent's mind to deal massive damage after discovering their weak trait. To do that, I added the Devastate Worldview insult, which can only be used once per round. When you use it, you have to identify the right trait, which I made easy by allowing you to highlight the traits you suspect while playing. If you get the trait right, you'll deal high damage. If you get it wrong though, the opponent will retaliate with a powerful attack. You're probably wondering how this can be fun for 8 whole fights. Well, it can. So, after round 2, I introduced talents to the fights. A talent can alter the trait discovering process in unique ways. One talent is Stone-Faced. This talent makes it so the opponent hides the first 2 times they're set off, making it harder to pinpoint their weak trait. Other talents can alter the attack patterns of the opponents and even heal them if you don't set them off. The later fights even group multiple talents together to create interesting challenges. Now, I just needed to add the music and sounds that Francisco made, make a quick tutorial, make the menu, and there you have it. I mentioned in this video that I was short on time and couldn't implement every feature I wanted to, so, as is customary with my past few jams, I'll be releasing a post-jam update when the voting's over. If you want to see how this update turns out, consider subscribing. Thank you very much for watching. If you want to support what I do, consider liking and sharing this video. And don't forget to join the Discord if you want to get inside information on things I'm working on.